Welcome to the Helicopter Podcast, your go-to source for all things rotorcraft. I'm Halsey, bringing you the stories, insights, and conversations from around the helicopter industry. Whether you're a seasoned pilot, a maintainer, or you're just passionate about helicopters, this is the podcast for you.
I'd just been promoted to the group managing director in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and Australia to 3 companies. It was a good promotion. I was really excited about the opportunity of growth. But I sat on the board of VAI as the international advisor. I'm always passionate about serving the industry. I always have been on one board or another. I kind of said to the chairman at the time, "Hey, what do you think about me throwing my hat in the ring?" And he went, "Hell yeah, do it." And I was like, "Well, I don't know." But I threw my hat in the ring because I thought, well, this is an opportunity. When I got awarded the job, it was a moment where people were like, "Are you sure you're going to run a smaller organization generally? Because 3 companies across 3 countries to now doing this." And I was, "No, dude, you're missing the point." What's the point? I get an opportunity to lead a global industry. Yeah. That's so cool. Right at an inception point where you've got all these things coming together, giving the vertical lift industry a much louder voice. It's an opportunity I can't turn down. So when I got offered the job, I was super excited.
This episode of the Helicopter Podcast is made possible with a generous sponsorship from Robinson Helicopters, Helicopter Institute, and Vertical Aviation International. Hey guys, it's Halsey with the Helicopter Podcast, and this is a very special Verticon 2026 edition. I am so honored, so excited to be having François Lassale, President and CEO of Vertical Aviation International, joining for the podcast.
Dude, you pronounced that so well.
Did I do good?
Yeah, you did a good job.
I feel like my kind of my anxiety of doing the podcast sometimes is the name part.
Right.
I don't want to mess anyone's name up. I was fortunate enough, the podcast before was with David Smith
yeah, that's
of
nice
Robinson. I can deal with that. I was a little worried when they said, "Hey, we're going to have Francois join the podcast." All I could think about is, okay, I can say Francois, but what is his last name? And then Lassale, I feel like there was actually a high school that was near growing up that was called Lassale. So I guess it's somewhere in the memory banks. But François, thank you so much. I know that you're likely the busiest guy at this show. So for you to give us an hour of your time is so generous, and I'm just so grateful to have you on the show. We actually kicked off our Verticon fly-ins. Yeah. François came in on the 412 EPX.
So cool.
Which was incredible. Such a fun way to start the show. Let's just start there. Let's talk about just arriving, flying into to Verticon.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Nearly got it. All right.
I have not done that one time, and I'm talking to the president and CEO and I'm doing it.
I'll let it slide, Halsey. I'll let it slide.
Verticon. And I've been so good at it, Bailey, I promise. So you're coming in, it's your first Verticon, you land on the ramp, there's all the honeybees that come, you got the cameras. Talk to me about that moment.
Cool. What a moment. I haven't flown in a while, and I flew with Will Williamson from Bell. I mean, just awesome dude. I mean, he was trying to show me, so, my previous organization, we had 412s with the old analog ones, so he was wanting to show me around all the glass cockpit and all the new systems, and it's only a short flight from Fulton County to where we landed here at the convention center. He's trying to show me everything as we're flying here, and I'm just trying to fly, and I'm trying to talk to camera because we had camera inside as well. So it's trying to keep the folks happy, right? Yeah. And talk to camera, and learn and figure everything out as we came in. And of course, as I was flying short finals to land, I kind of kicked the tail to one side to kind of spot where we were going to land. And as I kicked back again, I looked up at a whole bunch of cameras, including you guys. Immediately, like,
no pressure.
No pressure. I was like, don't screw this up. I've flown a while. Fortunately, I think it was a smooth touchtouchdown.
It was great. Yeah. It was fairly aligned with the H.
Yeah, almost on the H.
The helicopter looked incredible.
Yeah.
We were a little bit bummed. I guess on Sunday, we were supposed to go to Helicopter Express and I was going to fly the 412.
Really?
And we were going to shoot some content around it. But unfortunately, Mother Nature didn't quite comply. As we know in aviation, it's just one of those things. And it was kind of right on the margin.
Yeah.
We decided that it was not worth it, right?
So have you seen our new It's Okay to Stay campaign?
It's okay to stay, and I love that. It's so important. And I think, as an industry, there's so many different mission pressures, and there's so many things that would make a pilot make a decision to go and fly.
Yeah.
And knowing that it's okay not to, and making that decision is so important and saves lives.
Yeah.
And I feel like specifically in my past as air medical was my last full-time flying job. And I was so fortunate to be with a company, Air Evac Life Team at the time, that supported pilots in making great decisions. They took all the pressure away.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were responding to. We just got some basic details. If the minimums were fairly conservative.
Yeah.
And then even if you were within the minimums, but you as a pilot didn't meet your personal minimums, you declined the flight.
Yeah.
And there was no...
And you were empowered to do that,
You were
right?
empowered to do it. And that was as a pilot, the most, important thing. And actually, Francois, a lot of our listening base here at the Helicopter Podcast, they're getting into the industry.
Yeah.
Right? They're guys and gals that are just starting their career.
Yeah.
And they're going to be faced with those challenges, right? Of this mission pressure. And I was very fortunate when I was just starting to fly helicopters. I ended up sitting next to this guy in an airplane. I had like 13 hours.
Yeah.
And his name was Chris. I won't say his last name. I don't know if he wants to be mentioned, but he flew for a very large city here in the United States, flying rescue and fire and things like that. And I said, what is the best advice that you can give me? And he said, learn how to say no.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't understand, honestly, what that meant.
Yeah.
Say no to what?
Learn how to say no without the fear of losing your job.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And so he explained it to me. He broke it down. He said, specifically as a young pilot, or even an older, more experienced pilot too, you will be presented in situations where you may have a boss, a client, whatever it may be, that is really insistent that you go flying. And the weather might not be cooperating.
Yeah.
The maintenance might not be up to snuff. And he said, you have to be able to say no.
Yeah.
And what a valuable thing that I got to hear at 13 hours.
Yeah.
And so on this platform, talking with you, talking to our audience, being here, having you guys have that campaign, it's so important, right? That's to instill that into the next generation of pilots in the current generation.
That's where it starts, right? Well, we had Chris Hill announce it at the safety booth yesterday. I think it was okay to stay campaign. What we connected it to was we had our keynote speaker, Mike Allen, who talked about smart brevity, right? Saying less but meaning more, or saying less to mean more. I can't remember what it was. It was just brilliant because it connected really nicely with the point that you try to make and communicate. And the video we did for it, I did a video for it. Chris Hill crafted a video for me to do about it and talk to the pilot community. And we played it at the pilot briefing before we flew in the other day. And I looked at the audience and I said to them afterwards, I said, now that video I've just done, right? These are seasoned aviators in the room. And I said to them, that all made sense, right? And they're like, yeah. And I said, and you kind of looked at me and went, duh, that makes sense. Yeah, of course we'd do that, right? And I said, but how many of you actually can do that?
Yeah.
When you have, a principal, a VIP, a high net worth individual, a customer, whatever, whoever it may be, just saying, we got to go. We got to go. There's commercial pressure to go, right? And or self-induced pressure, right? There's also that too, right? Pressonitis. That's a big killer. Is a pressonitis like, it's marginal, but we can make it.
Yeah.
So it's that ability to not only say to your guest, but also to say to yourself, it's okay to stay. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that we can teach the young generation, because as they come through, they learn off the older folks. Like, well, they did it, they accepted it, and they pushed on in the bad weather. So it must be okay for me to do it.
And actually, I would even caveat on that and say that the more experienced guys like myself and even you, we're all susceptible to being great aviators, being great decision makers.
Absolutely.
But we're all susceptible to making a bad decision.
Yeah.
And it could be get home-itis. I want to go see my daughter, right? I want to see my wife. I want to get home. I want to go and save that life.
Yes.
Or I don't want to lose my job.
Yeah.
And so even these experienced pilots, And unfortunately, what happens sometimes is you make that bad decision and nothing bad happens. So then it reinforces it.
Yeah.
And then you continue to do that, and then you have that negative outcome. And so
it's called aperceptive mass.
Yeah.
Which means that it's learnings and past behaviors or past experiences is how you act and carry that out today. And so, I mean, I always ask this question: how do you know if you've got a good safety culture in your organization? I've asked that for lots of people, experienced people. And I get all the standard answers. Well, you've got a good SMS program and you pass the audit standards and you've got this, that, and the next thing. But the answer is actually quite simple. It's when you catch people doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. That's when you know you've got a good safety culture, right?
It's 100%.
It's like when your team are doing the right thing when nobody's looking, then you know you've nailed it.
Yeah.
And give you an example. Motorbike accident. For me, right? I was living in I was running operations in Indonesia, and we were living in Bali. Have you been to Bali before?
I haven't been to Bali.
Right.
I really want to go.
Gotta go, man. Bucket list, go.
I've been to Thailand.
Yeah, we've come to Halsey, so we will be going back.
Ooh, nice.
And I'll talk about our first international event in Bali, Indonesia in May. I'll talk about that in a second. But, living and working there, everybody uses motorbikes and scooters because there's too much traffic.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's crazy. There's too much traffic. So I bought a motorbike. It was a fairly big motorbike. But I came over to the States and I got all my body armor, good helmet, good body, Kevlar, everything. And I got back there and everybody was looking at me going, it's too hot here. Why do you put all that junk on? You're just going to, and I said, well, it'll save my life and get a bit sweaty, but, I want to do it. And 2024, I got run over by a truck. They just sideswiped me and ran right over me. So 11 ribs, broke my shoulder, broke my foot, punctured my lung. Yeah, I was in hospital for a while. You're doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Nobody was looking at me sweating to death in all my body armor. But I would not be sitting here, Halsey, with you today if I didn't wear all that stuff. So that's when you got to... And I often I said to my whole team when we were going through, we had a workshopping session together as we were creating our values as an organization over last year. And I said, what's the first thing? Spirit is our values, by the way, but S is for safety, right? And we stand for safety, we espouse safety. I said, how many of you, you're all flying airlines, how many of you, what do you do when you sit down and strap in? What happens next? They said, well, the flight attendant does the safety brief. And I said, on the last flight, which of you were watching the flight attendant or looking at your phone?
Yeah, of course.
All right. And they're like, sheepishly, yeah, guilty. You know what I do? I unplug and I sit and I watch, right? And I've been on millions of flights. I'm an ex-airline pilot. I know the process.
Yeah, you know the drill.
But I do it because you just catch it. You've got to live it and be part of it and understand it. And there's still a lot of people kind of see safety as a thing you got to do and check a box.
It's a box. Yeah, no, safety to me is a living thing. It's this thing that we all have to do to make the decision. And I think that our industry in the helicopter world has made so much drastic leaps in the right direction for safety and safety culture. Yeah. But there's still operators that are not, they're getting the plug and play SMS, right? Because it's just to check the box. And I'm really hoping that as an industry and as a whole, we can all just have this commitment that you're not just having an SMS to have it. You should want to have the SMS. Yeah. I've only ever worked at companies that had a robust SMS and they had the actual culture that supported it. And that was the most important thing. Yeah. Even in flight school, I went to Hillsborough Aviation at the time. It's now Hillsborough Heli Academy. And they built kind of their internal SMS. And I think they were kind of more on the forefront. I mean, this is back in 2008-9 timeframe. Yeah. And so I got to be trained within that environment and I got to experience it firsthand, right? I got to understand what is just culture? What does that mean? What does it mean to do the right thing even when people aren't looking? What does it mean to go and have an overspeed in a helicopter, come back and land and say, hey, I made a mistake. I had an overspeed. Here's what happened. Exactly. And then filling out the report and then looking at the report as a systemic, as a systemic whole, right? Is this something that others will fall into the trap of, or was this just a one-off mistake? And so I've been so fortunate to be in that. And I really hope that this industry can continue to do that. And I think that VAI as an organization is helping lead that charge. Yeah. As you said, Spirit S, that's the very first one is safety. Right?
We put it deliberately first. That was deliberate.
It should. Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I want to talk all about VAI and Verticon as a whole. But admittedly, this is my introduction to you as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm extremely curious. I was actually just talking to what sounds like an old friend of yours, Michael Benton.
You're talking to Michael.
Michael was
good lad, yeah.
He didn't share any bad stories. I
Okay. Oh,
promise.
that's disappointing. I hope it was.
Yeah. And Michael was on the podcast recently, and he was saying, "Oh man, you're gonna really enjoy talking to François."
But I'll pay him later. Don't worry.
So
Good man.
let's start just a little bit with you. What is your background? What is your experience in the helicopter world, aviation as a whole, and just a little bit about you?
Thank you to our sponsor, Robinson Helicopter Company, the choice for unrivaled safety and reliability so you can accomplish any mission with confidence. For more than half a century, Robinson has been at the forefront of the helicopter industry. From the R-22 to the R-66 turbine, Robinson makes helicopters accessible so more people can accomplish more missions. Climb higher. For additional information, visit www.robinsonheli.com.
Started a long time ago. I'm quite old now. Started a long time ago. I was a soldier in the South African Army during the conflict in the 80s.
Okay.
I was a platoon commander, infantryman, and I speak Zulu, so I was on a Zulu battalion. All my soldiers were Zulus. We deployed up into the conflict in Angola, and we were flown out into contact. We kind of did a thing where we'd either be out on patrol, and if we came under fire, we'd call support, and they'll come in with helicopters. So we had the old Delaware 3s,
Cool.
so the 20 mil cannon in the side. Now that was nuts. The 20 mil cannon stuck in the side of the Delaware 3. The gunner would be like, "Are you ready?" And the pilot would go, "Okay," and
the helicopters.
would just move sideways, just fly sideways.
Translating tendency caused by a weaponry.
Correct. That's exactly it. And then we'd come in the Pumas, as top cover and get involved in the firefight. And of course, I remember, sitting there with my feet on the step, sitting on the floor with my feet out the step on the open doors as we're going across the treetops. And I was like, this is so cool. And as we landed and we all jumped out and, we're about to go and get in a firefight. And I look back at the pilot and he's waving goodbye because he's going back for a cold beer.
He's pulling pitch and going.
And I'm like, oh, life choices. I want that job, right? So epiphany at that point in time for me, helicopters is what I wanted to do. And eventually there were no opportunities for me in South Africa. So I immigrated to the UK and managed to I was a school teacher for a few years while I was trying to get in between Army and Air Force. They didn't recognize my officer status, so I had to go officer training again. So I did officer training in the Royal Air Force. So I saw the light and went Air Force. Why walk as a soldier when you can actually fly? It made a lot more sense.
Of course.
I went and joined the Royal Air Force and ended up flying the Puma helicopter, which is what I want. Rather ironically, I was flown in the back of them. Ended up flying a Puma, which is cool. We did some Royal flying with the Royal family, and I was on the Special Forces flights, so I did that as a training captain and instructor. So I loved my time flying helicopters, but I was never at home, and that's not conducive to good family life. Right?
No,
particularly you got young kids now, right?
I get it.
Sooner as I get. If you're never there, I promise you, your wife is not going to be happy with you. So
I feel like I do pretty good. I home office. I do travel quite a bit, but that's the balance, right? Trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that because a lot of the podcast conversations I've had this week have been about relationships.
Oh, really?
And family, family relationships and how you navigate that. And it's always kind of that similar thought of like, hey, I love what I'm doing right now. Yeah. It's fun flying.
Yeah.
But the family aspect isn't working. Yeah. Right. And so you make a pivot. What did you do?
Well, first of all, I had an understanding wife. We've been together for 30 years now. And she's probably happy to have me out of the house. She has her own space.
Yeah. But how many years of marriage when it changes, right? My wife still wants me around, but maybe at 15 years or something, she'll start to pivot.
I don't know when that magical point was. It took me 20 years to understand that she was always right. I was a slow learner, right?
I don't know if I don't think I've learned that
You haven't
yet.
learned that, Leo. It'll come.
I fight hard.
I found out it was fruitless. You got to give into it, and it was transformational at that point. But yeah, it was. When you're away for a long period of time, I remember being. We were out in Kosovo, so on a detachment in Kosovo during the conflict there, and you'd go away for 6 months. And you come home, and we didn't have kids then. My friend a lot of my friends had kids, and they were young, 2-3 years old. And of course, we did a big fly past and landed a meet and greet with all the families, and they're all out there waiting. Miranda, my wife, was out there, plus all the other wives, and the kids were hiding behind their mom's leg, going, "Who's this strange man? We don't know who this is. We haven't seen or him for 6 months. They've kind of forgotten who it is." And I just looked at that and went, I don't want that for my kids.
It's very challenging.
And so the downside is you go away for long periods of time, you come back, the family runs without you, man. I promise you, they know how to get the car serviced, they know how to change the light bulbs, they move on without you.
Yeah.
And you come home as like, okay, I'm back. Everybody relax. And it's like, no, you're disrupting our routine here. So kind of get back in your box. It's an adjustment to get back in. And I know there was a lot of divorce rate in the military.
It is high.
Yeah, it's tough. But my wife was pretty good, and she would humor me. And I do the same thing. I come back, right? The man of the house is back.
I'm here.
Yeah. And, she was pretty good about it. But yeah, we didn't want that for our kids, and that was actually the point at which I decided to leave the Air Force and go into the airline industry, because at least I had some stability.
Yeah, it's more conducive.
Yeah,
you know your schedule.
Yeah,
you can kind of be around. It makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm actually interested. I'm going to tangent a little bit.
Yeah,
just speaking to the airlines, because it's not as much now, but just in recent years, there's a bit of an exodus of helicopter pilots going into the airline industry. And I think there's a number of factors: lifestyle, pay, benefits.
That's why I went pay.
All those things. What is your current look on the helicopter industry, on what we could do as a whole to make sure that we're not losing our pilots to the airlines?
So it's ebb and flow, right? As always is the case. The pull one way or the other. Traditionally, the helicopter world has always been seen as the sort of poorer cousin to the airline world.
Sure.
It's where the money is. It's where, the stability is. You talk to how many people have been in the airline industry and ask how many times they've been furloughed.
Seriously.
Like loads, right?
Yeah.
And I went and flew airlines for 20 years. And I remember coming back when we came to the US in 2009, I think it was, where I started my own company in Colorado. It was called Vortex. And I was auditing an operation down in Florida. They had, I was doing an ISBO audit, and they had fixed wing and helicopters. And I had to go and fly on the jet to audit them, and then I'd go and fly on the helicopter to do an audit. And the guy said, "Hey, when was the last time you flew helicopters?" I went, "I don't know, 14 years ago." He said, "You have control. Let's go." And I flew with him. And I remember landing back on the dolly outside the front of the hangar and put it on the dolly. And I stepped out. My audit team was there. And I stepped out and I had a grin from here to here, right? I was like, and everybody's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Man, I forgot how much fun this is.
I'm back."
I forgot how much fun this is. I was dying from the neck down in the airline, sitting in a long haul cruise over the Atlantic.
That's horrible.
When you're middle of that Atlantic in the middle of the night, right? Willing somebody to go wrong to spice up your life. It's time to...
that's an issue when you want something to happen.
Like, cheeky edge of failure. I've not seen Reykjavik before this diversion.
Let's go there,
yeah. So that, for me, it dawned on me that I really miss flying helicopters and being in that world. That's a different set of people. But back to your question about careers and young folks, I think we have to, and this is where VAI steps in, we have to create that career path. And I want us to be an association that looks at the cradle to grave for kids coming in. We've got the Pinot Foundation here. Just what Greg Allen is doing is just awesome. I mean, we went to visit him in Dallas, and they've got a school classrooms and all that stuff to bring pre-K kids in. So 3 to 6-year-old kids. They've got all this 3D printed stuff, like how to build a rotor head and how to build a swash blade and how to put together a jet engine. And it's just all that tactile stuff for young kids. And it's really about trying to get kids interested in it. And I think if the whole idea is to do that, and I have a passion that we want to really enhance our workforce development. So we've got a great team here doing training, but we need to do more, and we need to reach into the underserved communities of internationally, not just in the US.
Totally.
There is so much talent there untapped who never have an opportunity to come into aviation, ever. Right, and folks who don't want to go to the airline industry, but they are passionate about helicopters, and it's tapping into that. And the only way we can really do that is by making it accessible. And the way we can do that, I mean, AOPA is a good example. We got Darren Pleasance, who was at AOPA, and we love Darren. He's telling me about the scholarship program they have and how much they invest, and they've got such a strong scholarship program.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, we want to build ours
Yeah,
out
how
to
do
be
we
the
do it?
same. So we can be serious about it, not this piecemeal. I mean, everybody's doing a bit of scholarship here and sponsorship there and this, that, and the next thing, and it's piecemeal. Like VAI, we have the foundation to do that, to bring the community together.
100%.
And I'm on your podcast and to the listeners now. I mean, we got to pull our finger out, and I'm going to be banging on everybody's door saying, we are staring at a 10-year cliff, workforce cliff. Predominantly in the US, not so much on pilots, but on mechanics, internationally pilots and mechanics. We struggle to find. They are either going to the airlines or they're not incentivized to come in on the bottom end.
Yeah.
So we got our work cut out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long road. I think we've made some steps, but I've always kind of thought that it seems that we're so stuck in the moment now, right? What are we doing now? And we're not looking towards developing. And I think of my own story. I became into aviation because I was a little kid that had some opportunities to be close to aircraft, whether it was at an air show or a family friend actually took me flying.
Yeah.
I was 5 or 6 years old. From that point on, I was going to be a pilot.
Yeah, hooked.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I was also very fortunate that I came from a wonderful family, parents that loved and supported anything that I wanted to do. They were able to help me financially get to that pathway for the most part. So very easy almost for me.
An easier
right?
path for you.
And I understand that that's actually not the case for most. I feel like a lot of people look at our industry, specifically helicopters, and it's not even a thought because it's so unobtainable.
Yeah.
Right? How do you become a helicopter pilot?
I had to leave Africa at the age of, I came out of the army at 21, so joined at 18, 21. So I left 21, 22. And I had to immigrate to the UK to try and get those opportunities because it's just that we're not there.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
even in the UK, it was difficult. I mean, you are so blessed in this country. You don't understand how blessed you are in this country when it comes to aviation. And the reason that you have access to aviation in this country more than any other country in the world is because of institutions like VAI and AOPA and NBAA who
100%.
really protect GA, protect, kids coming into it. So if you look at other parts of the world, Europe, it's expensive.
It's much harder.
It's cost prohibitive.
I grew up in Oregon, and so I was very lucky. Hillsboro was in my backyard.
Right.
I was one of the few Americans attending the flight school.
Oh, really?
Most of the student population was from Europe.
Yeah.
And so that's when I learned, oh my gosh,
It's so much cheaper here.
And so much cheaper that they can come, pay for all their ratings, and then go back to Europe, pay additional to do their EASA conversion, and it's still more cost effective.
Yeah.
And, they're having to uproot their life, come on this visa. It's quick time frame. There's a time limit.
Yeah.
And so I felt very fortunate.
And you get better weather here too. So you can nail it all in a couple of months.
Not always in Oregon.
Oh, not Oregon. I forget about it. It rains a lot. Well, it depends where you are.
It depends.
The other side of the mountains, the wine region's dry, right?
I grew up in the rainy side. That's where Hillsboro is too. Yeah. And it actually, by and large, great flying. I mean, some of the best flying that you can do is in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, you do have to contend low ceilings and things like that. Summertime is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I currently live actually where Darren lives over in Central Oregon.
Well, he's in Bend, Oregon,
He's in Bend, and that's where I'm at as well. And
Yeah.
that's a high desert, better climate.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more appealing. But yeah, I mean, I echo what you're saying. I think that if we're not in tune as an industry of bringing in the next gen pilots, mechanics, we are going to be we're going to have an issue, right? It's going to be a problem. I would say it's already kind of is a problem, right?
Well, it is a problem, but it's going to be amplified. And why do I say that? Well, I say that because it's kind of the leading indicators are there just for the helicopter section of our community as vertical lift. But we're at this inception point with advanced air mobility, drones, and helicopters. VAI is the confluence of that, bringing that all together, right? And if you think about the exponential or the planned or projected exponential growth of the AM world, the advanced air mobility world, is pretty high. And I've just been to Joby, Archer, Eve, and Whisk on our little road show. So Kate Clark and myself went on a road show, and we just went and met everybody. And we went through the factories and met the teams and looked at the passion. And dude, these things are close to certification.
It's crazy.
And it's not a dystopian future. It's a reality.
Yeah.
And that's why we're getting behind it, because, VAI needs to remain relevant. That's why we rebranded.
Sure.
But there's going to be a demand on workforce from that. So now you're looking at us going from helicopter to vertical. Our industry is growing.
Yeah.
And our responsibility has to grow with it. right? So we need to make sure that we can supply the workforce. And the conversations with a lot of those folks are around certification.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Funding and certification of those machines. And I can't help them with the funding, obviously, and the investment. They're doing a great job. Obviously, they raise a lot of cash.
Yeah, a ton.
And that's opened a lot of doors to them. But ultimately, from our side, we want to make sure that it's the whole ecosystem they need to be thinking about, right? So workforce development, right? Where are these folks going to come from? Where are these kids going to come from? Where are these experienced avionics and electronic engineers going to come from, and the pilots? Because out of the 4 we visited, I think only the Whisk was the one that is designed to be autonomous.
Sure.
Whereas the others are all piloted. So, workforce development, airspace integration. So we had, which was great, on the opening day, we had Administrator Brian Bedford from the FAA. It was so that. Cool,
yeah.
Right? And we also had the executive director, the new head of EASA, Florent Guillemet, and I had a fireside chat with him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Cool, right? I sent a very clear message. I'm first international CEO in 76 years. So how can I not have those two on the stage? And it was Cade Clark worked his usual magic. That guy is awesome. Where is he? He's walking about here somewhere. He worked his magic, and I said, I really want that to happen, and he made it happen. We got those guys on the stage. And they love it. And they said, hey, look, we should make Verticon and European Road as a place where VAI can get together with FAA and EASA and have that sort of industry conversation. So airspace integration, we've got ATC modernization coming here. This administration is really pushing to have advanced air mobility out there, which we're great because it's shaking things up. I mean, things can't move at the pace of government. They can't continue to.
Yeah.
Because technology is racing ahead.
It's too far.
Correct. So I think the point is to try and consider the whole ecosystem from our perspective: workforce development, electrification, vertiports, airspace integration, fire suppression for all these battery vehicles. Yeah. All of that topic is, I think, almost building and certifying machines is the easy part. The rest is going to be a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, filling in all the infrastructure, the support.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting time to be in this industry, right?
Yeah,
and
that's why I took this job.
You guys rebranding to Verticon, we're at the beginning, I feel like, right? Of now this new, what I'm hoping is a very copacetic ecosystem of vertical lift aircraft, whether they're manned or unmanned or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But it's still so new. It's almost delicate, right? It's so with you particular in this position, how are you navigating just some of the optics? Because now we're transitioning to only helicopters in the past, and that's what we're all familiar with, and that's what we've all built these lives and careers on. And now innovation is happening, and like you said, it's not if, right? It's just a matter of time, right? These companies exist. They're going to launch. It's going in that direction. Robinson making very big, announcements with some of their new drone technology and things like that as well. What is your overall message to this whole entire industry of how do we make this a transition that we're all in it together?
Thanks to our sponsor, Helicopter Institute. Expert instructors, mission-ready training, and unmatched industry experience come together to shape safer, stronger pilots. From fundamental skills to advanced programs, we help you fly with purpose, train with confidence, train beyond the factory.
Yeah, good one. I know David Smith's very vocal on this point. I'm sure he said something in a podcast earlier, right? He's a proponent for one or the other, but look, the way I believe it to be is that helicopters are not going anywhere. I mean, let me be very clear on that. They are not going anywhere. Can AM fly 19 guy or oil and gas workers offshore 3 hours? No. Can they put out fires? No. Can they do search and rescue at this point? No. Can they do air taxi? Can they do long line? Can they do exploration? Can they do? No. They're not going anywhere. So we at VAI, we never talk about it as traditional and new, old versus new. There's no them and us. It's vertical aviation. Sure. They have the same DNA. They take off and land vertically. And there is a place for them in the portfolio of equipment that's in vertical aviation, whether it's a drone, AM, or helicopter, right? So the way that we view it is it's not replacement. It's evolution. And, we're just trying to work with everybody to make sure they understand that. But the point is we're at this inception point right now. because we're expanding with all these things coming under vertical aviation, which is great because it should give us a loud voice as long as we can pull the whole community together.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that we're actually defining the future, because if we don't define the future, somebody will define it for us.
Sure.
And I just want to make sure that, you know, we're at the center table talking to everybody who's involved, making sure that we remain relevant and we support our members and constituents. It doesn't matter where in the vertical ecosystem they lie. It's going to be our intent to do that.
And how do you personally define that future? And what are the initiatives that you're taking as a team to make sure that you are defining that? Yeah,
well, see, the thing is, a lot of associations they have a lot of members. We've got a broad spectrum of members, right? We've got from every sector, airmed, offshore, long utility, firefighting, VIP, tour operator, you name it, AAM and drones, right? So we really represent a large cross-section of the industry. The one thing I'll always say is we can't be everything to everybody. So the way that we define our future, well, first of all, is being data-driven.
Yep.
Rather than opinion and anecdote. I don't do that, and I don't think any of our team will do that. It gives us a strong platform for advocacy to be data-driven with government, with regulators, with ICAO, with customers. With it really shifts the conversation away from anecdotal. It should be like this. If you've got data to support that argument.
Of course.
So that's where we need to focus, but then we're going to use data initially. We've already crafted our 5-year plan. So the board made 5 strategic initiatives and sort of said, hey, we'd kind of like you to focus on these areas. And they're quite broad, right? And those things, they don't end. They keep going, right? And then every few years we revise them to go like, is this on track? What we've done is to deliver on those is created a 5-year plan. And we've done the vision board, which says in 2026 we're doing this, 27 we're doing that, 28 all the way to 2031. So we know what 2031 kind of looks like, and we reversed engineered and sort of said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. That keeps us focused. Otherwise, you'll drift like this, and we won't get anything done. We'll do everything half-baked, and everybody gets upset with us.
You have to have a North Star.
Exactly, that's what it is. And I didn't even think that was quoted somewhere, and we were playing. This is our North Star.
I like that. Yeah.
No, it's a good point. But that's how we will drive. We'll drive the change, or at least keep everybody focused.
It's good to hear. Something that I wanted to bring up in this podcast, because it's relevant to me in my connection to this organization.
Yeah.
Now this show as well. I've been in the industry since I was about 18. I'm 30, almost 38 now. So I've spent a good portion of my life within this industry.
Yeah.
And this is only my 5th time, now 5 years in a row now, of attending former, of course, HeliExpo, and now Verticon. And this last 5 years of being part of the association and being part of Verticon as a whole and coming to the show has actually been uber important to me in my growth, whether it's in my helicopter sales business or here in this podcast and creating this great content that we do.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed that I didn't come across it sooner.
Right.
And I'm curious of what we can do and what VAI is currently doing to make sure that the new generation of pilots understand what VAI does, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, I didn't understand. I didn't know what it was. At that time, of course, it was HAI. I didn't know who are they, right? I didn't know what they were doing or why they existed.
You're not alone, by the way.
And and I've heard that again. Yeah, I've heard that from others as well.
Yeah.
And something that I try to do in my podcast, especially leading up to shows.
Yeah.
Because this is such a valuable show. This is for a young pilot. You can come and you can learn so much. You can start networking, which we know is one of the most important things.
I mean, everybody's here. Everybody.
Career fairs, you name it. So what is VAI doing to really help build that message to the new generation of guys and gals that are coming up in the industry so they can be aware of why they should be members and why they should attend this show?
So we have... Remember I said to Kate earlier, I would say good question. Good question.
I appreciate it.
Because
Kate was the best with that. I love that.
Yeah, it's a good stalling tactic, right? I'll blame for that later.
Oh, that's what it was. Don't tell me that.
No,
I thought I had a good
gives
question.
you a chance to think for the response. Look, for me, it's about us having further reach with greater credibility. And further reach, by that I mean there is a little I in our name. And so it's international, hence our board. Super progressive, and then we really need to take this international side of it seriously because we cover 70 countries. And while we know the biggest market is here in the US, the majority of folks are here, there are still a lot of folks out there flying helicopters and unfortunately having accidents, and there's a lot of immaturity in those sectors of the world. And I've just come from it, literally 5 months ago. Before I joined this job, I was running operations in Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, and we had a leasing business in Australia. So I know that region all too well. And I thought, wow, it's still a long way behind, and nobody knows who VAI is. Nobody knows what Verticon is. They don't come to this. They don't partake in it. They don't go to the lessons. They don't get the education. I'm like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And we should take it on the road to them. So we're doing our first international show in Bali. Hardship.
Man.
So somebody's got to go.
I mean, I feel like we should cover that, right, Bailey?
Yeah. I think you guys need to come and cover it.
I think so.
I'll give you the dates, 27th to 29th of May.
Okay.
We're going to be in Bali. And it really is, it's a grassroots up effort to create recognition for VAI, but to actually get something useful, like a set of SOPs in somebody's hand, say, here's how you do long line well. Here's how you do emergency response planning. Here's how you do human factors. Here's how you do whatever it is, search and rescue, whatever it may be. And take some instructors down there, and it's 3 days, one with the leaders in the room, like a plenary sessions and panels and discussions and event sharing. And day 2 and day 3 is literally going to be... Day 2 and day 3 is going to be more workshops and driving changes to the front line. So they would never come to Verticon or VAI, so we're kind of taking it to them.
You're taking the road show.
Correct.
I like that.
Correct.
Well, it's so important to our listeners. For me personally, this show and the organization, it's become something I'm proud to be a part of, and I'm always looking forward to coming. My wife, unfortunately, did not come this year because we have the new baby.
Well, 9-month-old is a drain.
It was just a bit of a trek. We're like, I think it's better. But it's a place where you get to come and you get to connect with old friends. You get to make new friends. And I have made long-lasting, life-lasting friendships and business network through coming to this show. Yeah. And it was really special when I got to chat with Cade, because I didn't actually know what VAI was doing to support the industry.
Right.
What I thought was, this is VAI.
Yeah, everybody did. It was just a show.
I think that it's an expo.
Yeah.
It's this big show that we're at now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't actually until I had the conversation with Cade that I found out. So I know that we've talked about your initiatives and things like that, but just from a kind of a holistic, kind of a whole approach, in a summary, what is VAI and what are you all doing to advocate for vertical lift?
Well, again, I'll say this. That's a good question, but quite a long question and multiple parts to that question.
No, right? I ramble.
It's a good question. It is. We are so much more than Verticon. Verticon is the premier flagship event, and is literally where people come to meet, do business, set up deals, do training, network, meet old friends. It's fantastic. And I've done all the airline stuff. And I was in corporate aviation. I've done that too with MBA and stuff like that. But the atmosphere here is different. It's like a family, right? Or a big family. And that's why I think people love coming here. They love coming here and meeting. But man, I just walking down the corridor, the main hallway here, and I'm stopping every 2 minutes, hugging people that I haven't seen in a couple of years, right? Old friends. And this is such a close industry. Quite incestuous, but very close industry.
It's very close.
But I'm visiting all the OEMs. I'm talking to the OEMs, and I said, I want our relationship to be bigger than it is now. You guys sponsor so much. You put a lot of money into Verticon, which is great. You come here, you sell your product, which is awesome. It's spectacular. But I want to have more of an annual relationship. So you join our industry advisory councils. Sure. You join our work streams. You meet with us more regularly. We talk about what our joint pain points are and how we support each other, rather than here's some money, do a show, put up a nice stand for me, and I'll see you next year. Yeah. Right?
It's transactional.
Correct.
At that
we
point.
don't want that. Yeah. Right. So we want more than that, and we do more than that. Coming to the advocacy piece, we as an association, I can say this, I think with a great degree of confidence, punch way above our weight. And it's Kate Clark has now been promoted to executive vice president.
I heard.
So, because if you know Kate, you'll know why. But we promoted Teresa Ma. She's been promoted into his old position.
Yep.
She manages now legislative affairs and government affairs. And she's an absolute dynamo. And she's out on the hill and pounding the beat and making the connections. And if you look at what we've done, even in the short term, after the DCA, when the tragic accident of DCA, where they shut down a lot of helicopter routes, she was on it, the team was on it, they kept those routes open, they kept our industry flying. Literally. Law enforcement, medical, air tours, it was in Vegas, it was in LA, and it was obviously in DC, where we kept a lot of those routes open by our efforts. You look at all of our cases, legal cases, where we go into battle with, and I hate using that word because I love the word collaboration. I love partnering and working with people. I always think you get more with honey than you do with vinegar.
Yeah, of course.
Right, but there are times where
sometimes you have to litigate.
Where we get pounded on by knee-jerk political reactions, and we have to go in to defend the industry. And we've built a sizable fund for legal support, which is very good. But that's, again, we've been punching way above our weight. We don't have a pack, but just by Cade, his influence and his team's influence, we now have the Hill, both the Senate and the House and the subcommittees calling us for advice.
That's great.
That's how you know the needle shifted.
Verticon. Experience the ultimate thrill at Verticon, the show that features more helicopters than any. Cutting-edge technology, hundreds of companies, and international industry leaders come to the world's largest vertical aviation show. Register today at verticon.org.
One, I think it's when you're here at the show, especially, it almost makes this industry feel bigger. But when you step back from it, helicopters is a very small world, right?
Yeah.
And we're part of it, and I'm so happy that I'm part of it.
Yeah.
But so many people don't realize that aren't in this industry what helicopters do, what vertical lift as a whole industry do.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Just for our economy, life-saving, whatever it may be. And this includes our government officials. And so anytime there's a bad accident or anything, especially with the DC, that was horrific. There's knee-jerk reactions, right? And our politicians will start saying things, and you're like, well, that's not right at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you guys are the front line of advocating for that. And that's something that I didn't know, right? I didn't understand that. So I was like, what's the membership fee for? Is it to put this show on?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it's the advocacy.
There's a lot of operators out there today
the support
who don't realize that they're still flying today because of VAI.
Yeah.
And because of the work that we've done. And it's
kind of thankless work, really, right?
It is thankless work because they got to go and pound the beat and take a kicking from politicians and they go in there, every time, and we do it gracefully and we do it respectfully and we do it collaboratively. It's important. Folks will say, hey, you need to go beat up in the FAA because they're like, no, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. We have to bring them together. We partner the FAA. We partner those folks on the Hill. And the same with the EASA. We're working with the European Helicopter Association. We have a relationship and collaboration with them. And obviously, we are the recognized body at ICAO level. So we have a voice there as well. And that means that drives influence. That's what's driving influence for us. But it's so important. My goal is to have an industry report, impact report, on every lawmaker's hands every year, right? Because we are traditionally not good at selling ourselves.
Yeah.
We're just rubbish at it.
I've always said that the helicopter industry has a PR problem.
Yeah, I did. Because I like a lot of salty people who just want to fly helicopters. Leave me alone. I just want to go fly my helicopter, right? But then we have to be smart about this. And data, I come back full circle to the original point, data will drive that for us with an impact. Say, how many barrels of oil we help to produce every year, how many lives we saved, how many fires we extinguished, how many people were saved offshore. It's just like, it's endless. They don't see that. And what we do for the GDP, that's not there. So we're going to build that report and get it out to those folks because It shifts the narrative. But like I said, if you're not out defining it, somebody will define it for you, and normally not in your favor.
What I've, and I don't know if this is true, but I'm sticking to it. I have decided that helicopters essentially touch everything, right? This piece of paper, this soundboard, this table, these clothes, these lights.
Yeah, the lights shining now.
At some point in that supply chain and that economic development of this product or whatever, there is a helicopter in that chain.
Pretty much.
And I don't think our world understands that. I don't think all the people here in this country and all the other countries fully understand that. And so that was really impactful for me when I got to have that conversation with Cade. And I'm glad that we're talking about it here, coming from you.
Yeah.
I think it's really important for our audience to understand that. And you can help be a part of that change by becoming a member of VAI. It's not just this awesome show at Verticon that we get to come to. That's part of it, of course, and it's a very important part. But really, it's what they're doing behind the scenes is what is most important.
Correct.
That is actually VAI.
Correct.
Right? I mean, that's really the bread and butter. And so I'm glad that we got to talk about that. Before we run out of time here, I do want to shift to a little bit of a different direction.
Okay.
And it just goes back to a little bit more about you, and specifically when the vacancy opened up of this role.
Yeah.
Was it something that you immediately knew that you wanted to do? Were you approached? How did that whole thing happen?
Interesting one. I was at the time had just been promoted to the group managing director in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and Australia of the 3 companies. So I had 3 CEOs reporting into me. It was a good promotion. Financially, it was very good. I was really excited about the opportunity of growth. But I sat on the board of VAI as the international advisor. But I'm always passionate about serving the industry. I always have been on one board or another, either NBA or Flight Safety Foundation. I've been in the advisory committees, and I was lucky enough to be voted onto the board here. So when this vacancy opened up, I kind of said to the chairman at the time, "Hey, what do you think about me throwing my hat in the ring?" And he went, "Hell yeah, do it." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I just worried about and make sure keep everything quiet. I don't want to, get in trouble with my other job." But I did. I threw my hat in the ring, and because I thought, well, this is an opportunity. When I got awarded the job, it was a moment where people were like, "Are you sure you're going to run a smaller organization generally? Because 3 companies across 3 countries to now doing this." They were like, "That's when I was, no, dude, you're missing the point." What's the point? I said, I get an opportunity to lead a global industry. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Right at an inception point where you've got all these things coming together, giving the vertical lift industry a much louder voice. It's an opportunity I can't turn down. So when I got offered the job, I was super excited. Yeah,
I mean, that's really refreshing for me to hear, right? Because it sounds like you had a very good opportunity in what you were doing.
Yes.
There's, I'm guessing, a very nice financial reward to what you were doing. Obviously, you're compensated here, but this is a different thing.
Yes.
It's a different beast altogether. And so to come here and do this, that really makes me know that you're here for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes me feel like this is the right guy that we have leading this organization. I think that's refreshing.
If you talk to Darren Pleasance, he was the same.
Yeah.
It was the same. So that's why when I first met him, him and I resonated.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, man, I really like it.
I got really, I'll sidebar. I was at an Epic airplane event in Bend over the summer.
Yeah.
And Darren spoke.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really known Darren, and I've never met him before. And I wanted to talk to him so bad at the Epic event, but everyone was, and I couldn't get to him.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for an opportunity. I'm like, well, should I message him on LinkedIn? No, I'm not going to do that. And sure enough, the other day, I'm just standing at the Robinson booth about to cover the unveil.
Yeah.
And right behind me is Darren. And so I'm like, perfect.
Opportunity.
So I introduced myself. We live very close to each other. And I think he's dabbling with the helicopter idea.
He's got 10 hours.
Sounds like he's
a rotor head now. He's a convert. We pulled him into our leadership lunch. He talked about it. And so
I like that.
So he's such an awesome guy. And we went out for dinner last night and just to catch up. So he's an awesome dude. The thing is, he's just like so grounded and down to earth. For somebody who's been so successful and done so well, he went into AOPA for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I think I've done coming into VAI.
Yeah,
right?
No, it's really refreshing
for the
to
right
hear.
reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to convince him. I'm like, well, I do have a CFI still, so I can help you
So
learn how to fly.
I'm going to go and fly that P-51 Mustang of his. The bucket list for me. And he said,
Be
yeah, let's go
incredible.
fly. Like, I'm going to hold him to it. So,
Yeah, you better. Well, Francois, this has been a wonderful conversation.
Hey, not at all.
We'll finish by just saying when you're walking around this show as the new guy in town, the new guy at the top here, what has it been like? What has the reception been like for you?
Incredulous. Well, I walk around with a great deal of pride, for starters, like what this team pulled off.
Yeah, fantastic.
I mean, like put me on the stage and make me say some nice words and smile. It's kind of like my job is easy compared to theirs. It's just to get this off the ground is a monster task. So a huge amount of pride, a huge amount of surrealism because now I'm kind of in charge of this. Holy smokes, right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Kind of a pinch
It
moment.
kind of reinforces how big this job is, actually, when you come here and you see everybody and you walk around and you kind of realize, okay, it's quite a big responsibility.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah. So it's grounding for me. That's humbling for me.
Yeah.
And then also catch up with everybody. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, surrealism is it's like, wow, it's a real surreal moment that I'm here in this job, and so grateful to the board for choosing me, right? And taking that punt, taking that gamble. Let's get an international guy.
I like it.
The board are, they understand that, they get it, and so it's nice to have a progressive board that think that way.
Yeah, I think it's incredible, and just in this short conversation that we've had, I know that you're the right guy.
Well, thank you.
I'm excited for that. I feel so lucky to talk to you.
No, not at all.
It's such a silly thing, this podcast, because I just started it, I don't know, a few years ago. And maybe my mom or dad would listen. I never thought it would lead me.
How many listeners you got now?
We get thousands of listens every single month.
Cool.
And actually the show is very special for me for many reasons. But one of the cool things is I walk around the show and people pull me aside and they tell me what the impact of the podcast had on their career. Yeah. And it's, I'm a sentimental guy. I wear my emotion on my sleeve. So those moments to me are like overwhelming, really. And I take great pride of being just a small piece of hopefully being a positive voice and advocacy for my little part of this industry, and to be able to now have a conversation with the leaders of this industry, the leaders of this organization is a really cool moment. So thank you,
Halsey. Thank you
for giving me that time.
No, it's awesome.
Congratulations to you and your team. Bailey's here in the corner. Bailey, you guys absolutely show up. You guys have done a fantastic job. The fly-ins were perfect. Everything has been perfect. It's been such a wonderful show.
Thank you.
I've got to work with the entire VAI staff now this past few years as we've grown this relationship and doing more together. Top-notch team. Yeah. You guys are
very blessed.
Very lucky. And I saw Amber yesterday. She's one of my favorites, by the way. So
got a good team.
It's just so lucky to be a part of this conversation today. So thank you to our listeners. Again, VAI is more than Verticon, and not taking away that this is not awesome, because it is. You need to come to this show. It's great for networking. It's great for business development. There's so much that you can take away from a show like this. But like François and I were talking about, VAI is leading the charge at supporting this industry, whether it's with on Capitol Hill fighting or at least collaborating on the hard topics of this time in this industry. So your membership, your support means that you're now a part of that and you're supporting it. So thank you, and please consider supporting VAI. And to our listeners, of course, thank you for supporting me. Thank you to MHM Publishing for this awesome space and being able to be here at Verticon 2026 here in Atlanta. This is day 3. We're counting down the hours. It's always sad for me. I always get like a little let down that there's a little bit of like, okay, I'm happy to go home, but I'm also sad. It's so much energy. I wish I could have this every week. Yeah. I don't think that's possible. But
no, but we should learn how to bottle it, right? And then we can sell the bottles of energy.
That would be good.
It. Yeah.
If you're going to be in Bali in May, you go travel on the road show. I got to twist Mike's arm, Bailey, on getting me there to cover it, I think.
Well, the show doesn't end. We're going to do it again in Bali, and then obviously Anaheim next.
Anaheim. And I'm very Anaheim. I love the location. Everything's so centralized, a little closer to Oregon. Thank you guys for listening. François, thank you so much for your time. Bailey, thanks for coordinating all of this. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Please stay tuned for a final word from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Robinson Helicopter Company, the choice for unrivaled safety and reliability, so you can accomplish any mission with confidence. For more than half a century, Robinson has been at the forefront of the helicopter industry. From the R-22 to the R-66 turbine, Robinson makes helicopters accessible so more people can accomplish more missions. Climb higher. For additional information, visit www.robinsonheli.com.
Thanks to our sponsor, Helicopter Institute. Expert instructors, mission-ready training, and unmatched industry experience come together to shape safer, stronger pilots. From fundamental skills to advanced programs, we help you fly with purpose, train with confidence, train beyond the factory. Verticon. Experience the ultimate thrill at Verticon, the show that features more helicopters than any. Cutting-edge technology, hundreds of companies, and international industry leaders come to the world's largest vertical aviation show. Register today at verticon.org.